We bring you the latest updates from the Pna Newsroom. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has directed the Department of Transportation, or DOTR, to expedite the agreement with maintenance supplier Sumitomo-Thales that will update the nation's aviation safety system. Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista said the president is well aware of what transpired and agrees to put into action any future requirements for the upgrade or improvement of the communications, navigation, and surveillance air traffic management system. Marcos earlier mentioned that the team from the Philippines met with the organization in charge of Gatwick Airport in the United Kingdom while they were in New York and inquired about traveling to the Philippines to assist with airport maintenance issues. Last week, the group came to assess the airport's operations in light of the issue they encountered on New Year's Day. Marcos said they will be having a management contract at most. Meanwhile, Marcos said the privatization of NIA is not something the government intends to pursue.
We have no plans to privatize anything.
Okay.
There's no plan to privatize anything. Rather we do the opposite. No, when Secretary J.B. Bautista was talking about that, I think he may have been, maybe he misspoke or he was misinterpreted, but you cannot privatize an airport to begin with. They cannot own the airport. No, a private firm cannot own the airport. At best, kasi na nga nagkakagulo, nagkakaproblema tayo dito sa airport. At again, in New York, meron kaming nakilala, the group that runs Gatwick Airport, they run London Airport, they run several big airports, that we're asking them, what can they do? Can they come in and help us so that we can increase the traffic through the Manila airport? And they said they could. And so they're coming, they were here last week and to look at the operations of the airport, and especially since we had that problem in New Year's Day and this recent outage with the UPS. So at most, we will have a management contract.
The Philippine Consulate General in Los Angeles, California, expressed its condolences to the families of the victims of the mass shooting during Chinese New Year at Monterey Park on January 21st. In a statement, the consulate announced that a Filipino man with U.S. citizenship, identified as 68-year-old Valentino Alvero, was among the casualties of the shooting. The consulate also offered its prayers to the victims at a time that is supposed to be a time of gathering and celebration. In a separate statement, the Alvero family described Valentino as a loving father, grandfather, and uncle who enjoyed ballroom dancing and sharing stories. The family asked to offer masses or rosaries and pray for Valentino and the other casualties. The death toll in the mass shooting in Monterey Park went up from 10 to 11 after a 70-year-old female victim died of her wounds in the hospital. The Los Angeles police said that the suspect, identified as Hu Can Tran, 72 years of age, committed suicide as police approached a white van he was driving in Torrance, about 20 miles from the site of the shooting. The motive for the shooting is still unknown. Meanwhile, 7 people were killed in another mass shooting, this time in 2 locations at Half Moon Bay City, California on Monday. Responding police found 4 people dead and another injured in 1 location and 3 more dead nearby. The San Mateo County Sheriff's Office said investigators have taken the suspect, a 67-year-old man, in custody 2 hours later. Still in the U.S., 2 students died in a shooting incident at the Start Right Here nonprofit agency in downtown Des Moines in Iowa State. The victims were found critically wounded and later died in the hospital. 3 suspects have been taken into custody. Police are still investigating the motive. Multiple earthquakes struck close to Balut Island in Sarangani, Davao Occidental this morning. The first earthquake, with a magnitude of 4.6, struck east of Balut Island at 1:18 early morning. It had a depth of 2 kilometers and is tectonic in origin. A 5.2 magnitude tectonic earthquake with a depth of 76 kilometers next hit southeast of Balut Island around 2:17 a.m. A third tectonic earthquake with a depth of 106 kilometers then struck east of Balut Island later at 10:30 a.m. PBBM also recorded another quake with a magnitude of 4.8 east of the island at 10:41 a.m. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PBBM, said the earthquakes were aftershocks of the magnitude 7 earthquake that hit offshore Davao Occidental on January 18. No damages are expected. The Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, said the rate of teenage pregnancies among Filipinos aged 15 to 19 decreased from 8.6% in 2017 to 5.4% in 2022. In its report, the PSA noted that of the number, 13.3% became pregnant under the age of 19, 5.9% were over the age of 18, 5.6% were under the age of 17, 1.7% under the ages of 16, and 1.4% under the age of 15. The report also shows that 0.4% of women who were expecting lost their babies. Likewise, the report said teenage pregnancy rates were greater in rural areas at 6.1% than in urban areas at 4.8%. The largest percentage was found in northern Mindanao, followed by the Davao region, Central Luzon, and Caraga, while the lowest percentage was recorded in Bicol and Ilocos regions. The tendency is likewise moving from the poorest to the richest, as 2.8% of the women in the poorest quintile are now expecting, compared to 0.7% of those in the wealthiest quintile. In terms of educational attainment, those who finished grades 1 to 6 had the highest rate of teenage pregnancy at 19.1%, followed by those who completed grades 7 to 19 at 5.3%, grades 11 to 12 at 4.8%, and college level at 1.9%. A total of 27,821 women between the ages of 15 and 49 were interviewed from 30,372 sample houses. And that is the latest and the biggest stories from the Pna Newsroom. For more news content, visit our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. We are also shown on the social media pages of the Presidential Communications Office and on Radio Pilipinas RP1. Stay tuned for more news updates. I am William Theo. We tell stories that inspire change.